Testing. 1, 2, 3. BlacScholars testing. 1, 2, 3. You know, the thing is that these blacks who graduated from white universities, they come to Howard University and black universities all over the nation. They come there with the attitude that they're somewhat better because they didn't have the buffer or these type of situations where we were neutered, you know. But they were neutered too. They were neutered into the concept, and they had buffers into the concept that would integrate them and make their minds integrated and into a situation where they could accept themselves as second-class citizens. This is the type of thing that is the problem in the black community, in the black culture, and with black professors who graduate from white universities. They think that the concepts they have learned or have been perpetuated to them, they think that their training is better than that of the blacks in the black universities. What I'm here to say, brothers and sisters, is that in the field of criminology, we need to be concerned about what is affirmative action, what is civil rights. We need to be concerned about the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the first 10 amendments. We need to be concerned about the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th Amendments. These are the things that we need to be studying, and we need to study them at a point where they are applicable. We need applied teachings in these areas. We don't need to be perpetuating this concept of criminological thought from a European perspective, like we got to know who Garfunkel is, the neoclassicists. We don't need to be concerned about Shaw and McKay. We need to be concerned about the brothers and sisters who made it possible so that we'll be able to go to school, who open up the doors so that we'll be able to be counted as minorities. We need to deal with our concepts. We need to deal with those things that make us who we are. Instead, we come to class and we get through a curve. We have instructors who come to class that think that they're supposed to talk down to us, tell us that we're ill-prepared, give us something that we know nothing about, and then we're supposed to go out and learn it. And then they tell us that if we have learned all that they give us, then they're ready to go learn something else. Something else meaning what? We have to be able to understand the necessity of the development of our culture from a teacher and an instructor point of view. These teachers and instructors are obligated by means of their culture from which they come from to perpetuate their culture. Now the white instructors is perpetuating their culture. They're allowing for you to be able to study their culture and give you some of the black folks who they consider that made it in their culture. But we're not concerned with that today. We're concerned with the development of the black culture. We're concerned with those concepts that would fit in the area of criminology that were developed by black people. We don't have to know about, white folks who don't give a hoot about us. Sean McKay ain't make me feel no better. None of these people that I studied this semester, hey, I'm leaving here ignorant and oppressed. I didn't get anything out of this class this semester. All I got was a black person standing up trying to be white. I got some Oreo for an instructor in criminology. I didn't get nobody that was black. And if you professors think that you can't be black, I think that you ought to study the 432 years of uncompromising struggle that has been going on in America and throughout the world. And if you can do this, then you can begin to embark upon education for the black man, the black child, and the black woman. And for those of you who are so corrupt in thinking, not necessarily in that order, because I know there's some of you black women out there who are feminists who seem to think that, well, he is making a feminist statement. I'm not making a feminist nothing. You know, I'm not making no statement that in details man comes first. Because in the black culture, our women come first because we know from them we come. And that they bear us for 9 months. You know, it always has been in the black culture that our women could be great rulers. They could be great leaders. You know, you can go all the way through the Bible and it talks about the women in the Bible that were so great. And here, when we talk about the Bible, the any ikes that you talk about, these are black people. And we got women such as Makeda, the Queen of Sheba. You understand what I'm saying? We got Nzinga, Queen of the Amazon, Queen of Matamba. You understand what I'm saying, sisters and brothers? We always been able to do this thing. This is nothing new for us. We got Cleopatra. We've been known about her for years. White folks told us that it was some black people, some white person, Elizabeth Taylor. We got Hatshepsut, Queen of the far iniquity. Hey, I'm not here to try to perpetuate no feminist or no masculine situation. I'm here to perpetuate a scientific concept, and that's blackology. Now, because it comes from the black man, you black feminists, y'all can't accept that. Y'all stagnating the growth in your mind. Your mind is messed up. And this is what we have to be concerned about, brothers and sisters, is that we have to be able to do for ourselves what we've been asking for others to do for 432 years. I mean, you know, the road has been paved. I mean, the path is there, and there are many paths. We must not be afraid to teach brothers and sisters in school civil rights. We must not be afraid to teach them how to apply the civil rights. You know, I'm in criminology, and I didn't even learn this semester on how to apply civil rights to my everyday life. I didn't learn what the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th Amendment was, and why they was essential to me. But I was told by an instructor that I wasn't prepared. You know, I was coming to class ill-prepared. No, I wasn't. I was coming there in protest. Because somewhere I read about the right to protest for right. Somewhere I read that I refuse to accept the ideal that man's business of today makes him morally incapable of reaching up for the artness that forever confronts him. And for those of you who might say, well, he misquoted, he didn't do it right. Let me read it to you, sisters and brothers. This was a great criminologist. And he dealt with civil rights. You understand? You know, and they tried to claim him as a lot of other things, but what he really truly was, he fought for affirmative action. Let us get this deal right. And this is what's happening. I refuse to accept the ideal that the isness of man's present nature makes him morally incapable of reaching up for the artness that forever confronts him. Martin Luther King Jr. Do you understand? Just because white folks got criminology in your classroom don't mean that you can't reach out and come back with civil rights. Don't mean that you can't reach up and come back and develop affirmative action. It doesn't mean that you have to be ignorant to the First Amendment. It doesn't mean that you have to be ignorant to the Bill of Rights. It doesn't mean that you have to be ignorant to the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th Amendment and what they do for us as a people and why we are here. You know, brothers and sisters, we have to be ready and we have to be able And we have to be prepared to deal with the obstacles that face us as a people. And preparation don't mean that you got to learn this white folks stuff before you can get to your own. Because if that's the case, white folks got so much history, hell, you would be studying that for a millennia. And you would never learn your own. So it's time to put aside the white philosophers, the European concepts, the Euro theorists, and deal with the development of the black philosophers, the black theorists, and the BlacScholars scientists. And for those of you brothers and sisters who are aspiring to the African concepts, it is time to be Afrocentristic, if you really want to, if you know what I mean. And I don't mean be Afrocentristic as opposed to being Afrocentricity is better than being black. Because if you black, you are Afrocentristic. You understand what I'm saying? And let us not get caught up into that foolishness. We need every aspect of our culture to be developed so that we as a people can be equal in this mad, mad world. Not being prepared. Yes, you will be unprepared if you don't be BlacScholars, if you don't be Afrocentristic. If you don't use these concepts, you will be in trouble. You will be looked upon as inferior. Because you ain't bringing nothing to the table. Here you going for what you call an education, but they're giving you a training. They're not giving you what you really, truly, honestly need. They're just giving you a lot of BS. To keep you down, to keep you ignorant, to keep you oppressed. Anytime that an instructor tell you that if any of my students learn all that I got for them to learn, and they want to go learn some more, I tell them, come on. I told the sister, hey, I learned it. I was from 1974 all the way up to 1990. I've been studying in the field of criminology, and the philosophers haven't changed, the ideals haven't changed, the concepts haven't changed. It's just some of their brothers and sisters, Euro-American, European concepts, just some of them have changed in terms of their analysis of the original philosophers, but basically they're talking the same old thing. And this is what we have to learn as a people, that hey, we can't get caught up in that foolishness. Give us what we can. I came to Howard University because it was developed for the children of the ex-slave. And my father's father was a slave. My father was a slave. Can you understand that? Because nobody educated him on the concepts of his culture that would give him the freedom that was necessary to get the slave mentality out of his mind. The process of making a slave was not undone. You can't undo the slave mentality if you don't have a process to undo it. You'll be a slave until slave mentality be an internal mentality for you if nobody sits you down and teaches you what it means not to be a slave. Black people, we've been stripped of our culture. We've been denied our right to educate ourselves. We've been, our concepts and philosophy have been put in the background. Maybe that's second class people. Why we gotta learn about white folks first? I looked at this movie called The Roll of the Thunder Cry. In the movie, this teacher exercised a method that was called book under the table method. And what that was when the children came into the room, the book that the white racist, supremacist Klan people wanted them to educate themselves with was on the table. And the book that she knew that they needed to educate themselves with was in their bag, all right, or in their hand, or the students had it. So when they came into the room, the book on the table, they put it under the table. And the book in their hand, they placed on the table. Now we need to develop our concepts today so that we can get the truth out. Because we don't need all of this. Oh yes, we can. We can do just as good with affirmative action, civil rights. You know, we need to be studying. You know, we just let one of our greatest criminologists pass away, and we didn't even go over there to try to find out what his concepts on criminology was. Well, David Abernathy left us, brothers and sisters, and the criminologists didn't even go and get his concepts. Black criminologists, brothers and sisters, he was one of the first. I mean, you know, they just let him die without going over there. And these are so-called criminologists now. Black criminologists. Well, they don't call themselves black criminologists. They ain't got a degree, a PhD degree. It don't even say criminology anyway. And they go over there and they get with the, you know, with these white folks, and they forget about who they really are. I mean, they lose their mind. They just, you know, get out there and get locked up. You know, kicked out, stomped on, and abused. It's like if you ever went to pledge for a fraternity, you know, you may get beat to death just to learn the concepts. And here, and trying to get into the white Euro-American educational fraternity, you will get beat to death. And there's proof of it. You know, there's a whole history of brothers and sisters, you know, trying to get in the educational system in America and getting degraded and oppressed and beaten. Brothers and sisters, we got to stop this foolishness. We're not trying to do anything for ourselves but perpetuate white concepts. We need to get away from that. We need to know why in America today that black people are still getting killed. In New York, you know, they still getting killed in Dallas, Texas. You know, they still getting killed in Detroit. Anywhere in America, the white man feels that he can kill a black man. He'll kill him. He can get away with it. We need to know this. You know, what is the basic concepts behind this foolishness? You know, don't come to class unprepared, doctors and professors. You know, don't come here talking about that. You know, we need to learn all of this before we can teach you how to be black. Hey, man, that's some bull. You know, I have a right to a pursuit of happiness. The Constitution backs me in this. And if I must, I will get me a lawyer and I will sue. Because I intend for my children not to have to go to the atrocities that we are going through in America today. They no longer have to go through what Martin Luther King and Malcolm X went through. Do you understand what I'm saying? Brothers and sisters, we got to stop this foolishness. You know, they say criminology been in existence for 20 years. Yeah, let's go back 20 years and let's see at what time did they develop this science. And then we can understand why criminology is here. You know, tell me, you know, who was the founders of criminology? Now, I studied this semester and I didn't learn any of that. I didn't get none of them concepts. But you say that I'm ill prepared. Well, I must say to you, as one of your criminological philosophers said, by the name of Gabriel Tardif, and he said that people imitate each other in crowds, in numbers, in masses. And he said that the weak imitate the strong. The young imitate the old. The student imitate the teacher. subordinate imitates the supervisor. The student imitate the teacher is what I'm dealing with. If I am ill-prepared, my dear sisters and brothers, take a look at yourself. It is not because that I, myself, have embarked upon this ill-preparedness, but that you are yourself. You can't tell me nothing about black people and how they made contributions to the field of criminology. And that's really what you ought to be doing. You ought to be coming to class, sitting up talking about it every day. Here, you can have whatever book they want to give you, but you don't have to, go in depth to that foolishness. You can teach whatever you want to teach. You can educate us to whatever you want to educate us. It was two of us in the class, and you tried to drown us in white folks' criminology, white folks' concepts. I mean, I'm doing this research called Cultural Affirmation in the Development of Blackology, or the Opportunity for the Development of Blackology. All right? And where there is, and one of the variables is white supremacy. And I defined it as Euro-American culture, European culture, and non-black African cultures. All right? And where there is white supremacy, there is a low opportunity for blackology. And I place it on a high, medium, and a low scale. Do you understand? Can you basically see what I'm talking about? And my research question is, what is the relationship between cultural affirmation and the opportunity for the development of blackology? If you want to know something, doctor, I think that you ought to be trying to educate me on such. You ought to be gearing my mind to a point of development that when I get into your class, if it's low, it'll be high when I'm through with you. But hey, I felt, nothing but subjugation, oppression, and nullification. That's all was dripping from your lips. Nullification. You nullified every brother and sister that ever did anything. You got the audacity and the nerve to disregard what Martin Luther King, Abernathy, and all the brothers and sisters have done so that the field of criminology would be able to have some implementations of how blacks feel, their philosophies and their beliefs. And you didn't educate one time talking about if I would have got the other stuff out of the way. You denied me of my constitutional right to a pursuit of happiness. You denied me my cultural right of the knowledge of my brothers and sisters because I wouldn't learn the white folk stuff. When are we going to learn, brothers and sisters, that we have got to put our culture first and other cultures second? I don't like that at all. The audacity of the educators today to put black back in the corner. We at a period of time right now where if you black, you get back. That's where we at. All right? And we exercising that in your class today. We exercising that in the classroom all over America. If you black, get back. If you white, you all right. If you Sean McKay, Cloward or Olin, if you any of these so-called neoclassicists or classical theorists, if you any of these white boys, these Euro-Americans or Europeans, you all right. This is the biggest lie that I have ever heard in my life. Because Martin Luther King was just as great as any of them. Ralph Abernathy was just as great. Elijah Muhammad, Noble Drew Ali. The brothers and sisters, they were all right. Marcus Garvey, hey, they was right. They was dealing with this criminological thing, 400 years before criminology even exists. We got brothers and sisters walking around here with us today, brothers and sisters, whose philosophies we could utilize to develop the science of blackology. But we're so vain with our PhD degrees. We refuse to go over there and talk to them about it because, we know more about the white folks' criminology than they do. We don't feel that they're prepared to be able to tell us this is sickness, this is madness. This is nothing but keeping us back. It's keeping us blind. Brothers and sisters, we're the blind leading the blind. And the blind being led by the blind. Y'all gonna wait till all of them die before y'all start hollering their name? Ralph David Abernathy passed. And my criminology teacher, and my research instructor, none of them said anything. Y'all ought to be ashamed of yourselves. I wouldn't care what he wrote. We know in the black community that the black man having more than one woman ain't no big news. As a matter of fact, it comes from our culture. And it has been this way because black men have always been lesser than black women. The ratio today is like 13-1. And these sisters who don't have any man, if you ain't got your man right, they gonna have her. Now, let me deal, sisters and brothers, with the direction and where we are headed. We are headed, brothers and sisters, to the development of the uncultivated sciences that exist within us. There is science in every people. Every people has the right to develop those sciences so that their culture can survive. This is where we are headed. And if any of you so-called PhD professors have the courage to stand up and to develop the science from your loins, from the longing of your people, then it will be you who will go down in history in the future. There are, in the African culture, 3 levels of death. One is the living dead. And this is the era of life after death. When you are remembered and exist in the minds and the memories of the brothers and sisters of your family. The other is the Sasa. The Sasa is the period at which your abilities and the things that you have done carries you even longer in the minds of your brothers and sisters. And they remember you and you live on in the period of the Sasa. This may be anywhere from 5 to 10 years. And brothers and sisters, there is another stage that is called the Samanai. And this is the period when you live on and on and on in the minds and the hearts of the brothers and sisters whom you have given so much and dedicated so much until their children are named with your name, and hope that your philosophy will manifest itself in the unborn prodigy yet to come. The Zamana is the period of forever and ever. This is the stage that we should be struggling for, that we should be striving for, because Martin Luther King Jr., Marcus Garvey, Hannibal, Harriet Tubman, Mary McLeod Bethune, Noble Drew Ali, all of these brothers and sisters, and this just names a few. I'm not talking about the total, absolute field of black scientists. I have only named but a few. We'll go on into the Zamana. We will always remember them because of their contributions and the things that they have done. Frederick Douglass will be there. Paul Laurence Dunbar will be there. Roger McNair or Ron McNair, he will be there. Jomo Kenyatta and Julius Nyerere will be there. We have got to understand, brothers and sisters, that we are not striving to be the best that we can be with white folks' concepts, but to develop the concepts of our own. I must get you to understand the necessity of the development of the science of our culture. Brothers and sisters, I don't call myself a sociologist. I don't call myself a criminologist. I don't call myself MA. Or I won't call myself a PhD. I will call myself a blackologist. I'm a blackologist, sisters and brothers, and I'm here to tell you that it's time out for these archaic methods, these foreign ideals. It's time to develop ourselves for ourselves. It's time to strive into the minds of the prodigy and the unborn generations yet to come. Brothers and sisters, Kwame Nkrumah will be there. Nelson Mandela will be there. Winnie Mandela will be there. And the prodigy. And are we to leave this earth and be thought of as brothers and sisters who are afraid to talk up for fear of their jobs? Or are we a generation who will go down in the histories and in the minds of the prodigies and the unborn generations? Because we were in the period of the development of the sciences of black culture. This is what we must be concerned about, not with this foolishness that we've been stuck on, stupid. You know, as a sister by the name of Kathy Hughes talks about on WOL radio in Washington, D.C., 1450. Brothers and sisters, you know, we got brothers and sisters here, right here with us today, that know what it takes to be equal. And we won't talk about them, because my job, I lose my job, I won't be able to work. Here you is a PhD afraid to give up one job to get another one. You know, I heard Dr. Ben Yakna talk about he's been to 40 different universities, you know, and he wouldn't care if it was 40 more. But he's going to talk about and deal with what he has to talk about and deal with. And he's an Egyptologist, all right? We need to, hey, we need to be able to deal with them, have those brothers and sisters in the schools educating us right now. We need to have universities where you can learn Louis Farrakhan's philosophy. We ought not to be afraid, to understand what Malcolm X was talking about. We got this stupidity in us today. If we can learn the white folk stuff, then we can learn the black folk stuff. You know what I mean? Hey, look. If you want to be somebody, be yourself. All right? If you want to be remembered in the Zamana, be yourself. And I don't mean no selfish thing like, hey, look, it's my philosophy. I'm the one made it. It ain't nobody else gonna use it but me. No, we don't need none of that. When I say be yourself, I mean be black and proud. Be African and proud. Be BlacScholars. Be Afrocentristic. And don't let anybody make you ashamed of what you are. Don't let anybody make you feel less than what you are. Brothers and sisters, Marcus Garvey said, death is the end of all life in the individual or thing. He lives not uprightly. He dies completely in the crumbling of the physical body. But he who lives well transforms himself from that which is mortal to that which is immortal. And how can we live uprightly? By perpetuating the concepts of our philosophers, by perpetuating our beliefs, by developing our sciences, by making the black culture equal to all other cultures. We must take the knowledge of our brothers and sisters and place it before the knowledge of our sojourn. Sojourner truth will be there. I don't know, brothers and sisters. We have to remember the brothers and sisters in South Africa. We must be concerned about those things that are ours. We must be concerned about those things that bind us into family. Brothers and sisters, we have to do right by our people. We have to do right by our culture. We have to do right by those things that make us equal. If we don't stand up for it, who else will? We're in a sad situation in the schools because the teachers don't understand the generation that's there. They think that they're supposed to go around and bow down and acquiesce and kiss white folks' shoes and, talk about the white folk fad and, all of these crazy things that they got us doing. We supposed to be going out drinking at night, Oh, that's cool, drugs is cool, They don't, of course, they don't tell you that, face to face, but you'll find many of our doctors and professors on drugs, and, the most frequent drug you will find them on is alcohol. So, hey, I don't buy that, and they own drugs because, like the brothers in the streets, they are oppressed. And they are oppressed because they won't talk about the concepts, the philosophies, and the beliefs. They are afraid to develop the sciences from within them. Oh, they sit at home at night in their four-corner room thinking about, man, what I could do with what I got. And they never get the courage to stand up for right. It don't make sense in the criminology room that you know nothing about the first two amendments. You know nothing about the 14th, the 15th, the 16th Amendment. You don't know anything about affirmative action. You know nothing about civil rights. What kind of foolishness is this? But yet they say the students are unprepared and the students won't do. Why would they do when you won't do? As Gabriel Tardy said, the weak imitate the strong. The student imitate the teacher. That's what y'all got to deal with. And straighten out this mess. You know, because we don't need no more coward professors. We don't need no more coward teachers. Howard University has to become an institution that develops sciences and not second-class white supremacy concepts. It can't be an institution for training. You know, if we want training, hell, we can go to the trucking industry. You know, if we want training, hell, we can go down to GMC. You know, we want sciences that will make jobs, will open up opportunities, will develop fields, will develop studies that will exist in our culture forever and ever. Man, we got a richness in our culture that is so great that when we develop the sciences of our culture, that there will always be the opportunity for greater thinking, greater knowledge, greater ability, and constant research. Always. I mean, there's nothing that we can't do with our culture once we begin to develop our sciences. We need to get away from this foolishness about, well, I think that what we ought to do is study this here first, and when we get through with that, hey, we need to get into this cowardiceness. You know, to be truthful about it is nothing but a coward. You know, you just scared, and what you are scared of is nothing. You know, it's like Louis Farrakhan said, you know, brothers and sisters, they don't fear us, they fear the white man. You know, these sisters running around here talking about feminine this, feminine that. You know, hey, look, let's do something scientific. Let white folks fight over this feminine and masculine stuff. We ain't got time. We don't have the luxury for it. Our culture is deprived. It's fallen. It's weak. Because we have not done the thing that we need to do as a people so that we can get together and develop ourselves to be equal. We are not equal if we study in somebody else's concepts. If somebody comes to you and gives you a concept and say, hey, look, study this. You know, you can't call it your philosophy because it's a second-hand philosophy. They gave it to you first. Now we must go out and develop for ourselves the concepts that are necessary so that we as a people can become equal in the eyes of the world. If our lot is to strive for sciences, we must strive for those sciences like Martin Luther King strived for civil rights. We must strive for those sciences like Jomo Kenyatta strived for the freedom of Kenya. We must strive for those rights like Malcolm X strived for nationalism. We must strive for those rights like Harriet Tubman strived to bring hundreds of black people out of slavery. We must strive for those rights, brothers and sisters, like Sojourner Truth had the pride and the audacity to talk about the elimination of freedom no matter what it cost. We must strive for those sciences so well until all the earth and heaven stops and says, behold, there is a great science from the black